Welcome, Free Enterprise fans. My name is Dathis. I'm joined by Invenerable here in the comms, and welcome to your Monday night community race. Invenerable, you got your Final Fantasy Mystic Quest in my Free Enterprise.
Dathis, you got your Free Enterprise in my Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Wait a minute. This is absolutely delicious.
I love it so
absolutely.
much.
And for those of you who don't know, we had a nice little April Fool's flag that was put in this past week, and it was press B to jump. So anytime you want on the overworld, any character can jump. You can jump around. So you can jump through different walls. You can jump over certain triggers. There's a whole lot of fun going on. I've seen you do a few flags of these. There's been a few community races. This thing is taken off like wildfire. And as a fellow Dragoon, this is taking after my own heart personally.
Oh yeah, it's super fun. It definitely speeds up seeds in a big way because, again, multiple fights that you just don't have to do if you know which tiles to jump over. As an additional little bit, not only can you do it in the overworld, you can push B to jump in battle. Every character gets a jump command. It's just, instead of it appearing on your list, you push B, you can pick your target. Everyone can jump. Some of them have really funny landing animations that I'm also partial to. Hopefully we'll get to see a few of those tonight.
Oh, nice. Just a little spoiler. Who's some of the ones that have some of the funnier ones that you've seen? I haven't seen everybody jump yet.
Oh, Porums is pretty funny because she's crying on the way down. I'm not here for this.
Just imagine her brother yeets her instead of her jumping. That's how we do it.
Yeah. Palums is good because he looks very haughty with his bluff animation coming down. So yeah, hopefully we'll see a good variety. Tella's is really good because it uses his failed recall one. If you've seen Rivers McCown's recall emote, it's on our Discord. The exclamation point popping up like he has no idea what he's doing. Also very appropriate for a landing Tella.
Oh man, absolutely, because he's just like, oh, I'm coming out of nowhere. So as we're also looking here, we have Zoe Vermillion with probably some of our favorites here. All the different kind of ways of jumping. You got hop, skip, and a jump. You got leaps, jump puns down for Fusoya. I love that everyone's just letting things flow through stuff like this. Again, the community, we all do a whole lot of fun, like with everything we possibly can. The naming convention's probably my favorite from people.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone has a good time with that custom menu. Naming after friends, doing thematic names. I love seeing Pizza's toppings in his most recent football gauntlet race. Always a good time. So what else do we have going on this flag set tonight other than the push B to jump? What else is noteworthy for our viewers to be watching out for?
So the main things are, this is a Zeromus fight seed, so that's a thing. However, there are two additional classic modes that we have. One is Classic Forge the Crystal, so we need to find at least the Legend Sword and the Adamant, as well as Classic Giant, meaning we're going to need the Darkness Crystal as well. Can't just pass our way to Zeromus, we have to at least get up there and complete the Giant. However, with those two flags on, it also means we're not going to get an Excalibur for free when we get Cecil, and we're also not going to get the character from the Giant, meaning that every character is going to appear once, because every character is just standard randomized.
Absolutely. So 12 characters, 12 spots available. Other little things we have going on here that if you've been watching the Football Gauntlet, you know that one key item is always blocked by D-Mist. We took that out tonight. It's back in its vanilla location. Edward in the Troya bed will give you a key item if you go visit him, or a prospective key item. We didn't want this to really have boss hunts involved. Because of how many bosses you can just jump over, it really breaks the flow to be like, let me save my game, let me see if this is a boss I have to fight. It's not, I reset. Like, we didn't want that. We want the racers to have a good time with the push B to jump flag. So we're giving them a break in that regard, at least.
Yeah, and another nice thing is something that is in the Football Gauntlets and is not in the Football Gauntlets also affect mostly one character. We still have the no adamants flag on, so that Pinktail is going to be a high tier piece of gear, not an adamant armor in this game. However, we also have a little fun thing. Edward, minus the fact that he also likes to throw down some music, he also deals with a little bit of a funness of the spoon flag. What the spoon flag does, it means that Edward can equip that weapon. and he can proceed to dish out about as much damage as a Crystal Sword Cecil at around mid levels, and then eventually skyrockets to quad 9s, pretty quickly. Puts him from, a man that sings songs to a man of the damage. And here we are, we're off. We're going to see who Kane's joined by tonight.
Absolutely. So we have an inverse vanilla start. We got a DKC. Leviathan gives us a magma key. Fun fact, though, I like not even using that magma key. We'll see if any racers do it. Spoiler chat, you can get to the hook route without the hook. You can jump over the mountains there, just take it all in stride, and you can jump over the hook path bosses to get underground. This does net you a free character and some pretty good loot and a gated shop. So I wonder if any of our racers is going to completely disregard this magma key. I know I would.
Absolutely, but the nice thing about the magma key, again, still a free key item, opens up the path if you want to go that way, or if, say, someone who's still in the community race doesn't know about that lovely little fun as much as some would. But we do see a big divergence immediately. We see two people heading up to Troya in Mecha Link and Poidrak. Zoe Vermilion is going to take advantage of that jump over, as we see there. And Maggie is actually going back right into Baron. You can jump right over those guards and jump back in. So huge divergence.
It's so beautiful. Bedward gives a free adamant ore, which is required. So any of our racers who forgets the free key item there is going to have a little bit of regret, going to feel kind of bad about it. Poidrak talking to the vanilla talking frog just for shenanigans, which on this on this lag set, you got to throw in a few shenanigans.
Oh yeah, it's a community race. Again, we don't do anything but a little bit of fun. So what you got to do, you got to show off some of those shenanigans. And like you were saying, I hope someone shows off the magma key shenanigans. And I already see people in the chat talking about some vanilla going on. Look, guys, again, not my fault. Blame Scala, legit.
So yeah, other locations. Maggie's doing that Baron Castle loot. We are on T Pro, so it is, by that reckoning, a gated location, has some slightly higher tier loot. So although both Mecha and Poidrak went up to Troya to get that free item, neither one of them wanted to take the time to get the two free characters up in Zot. It's a bit of a hike, because unless you get probably an edge, you probably can't fight the boss up there and have to retreat all the way back down the tower. It's certainly a big trade-off that this flag actually enables. How badly do you want free characters versus how much time are you willing to spend getting them?
Absolutely, but we do see Maggie is actually going to be heading up to Zot. Might be doing what you're saying, seeing if there is maybe a Fusoya or an Edge there, because again, gated key items or characters, that's what that is. And we are seeing Iridia on Poidrak's screen. That is who is down here in Eblin, which is not a bad character to be finding. With looks like King Queen Eblin, French vanilla again, lots of it happening this seed. So not a super unfree boss to find if you do say find a food and you want to kill some. Knock some of them out so you can get some bonus fights.
Yeah, well, and Demi in the chat saying we fight that. Well, the problem is that you can't fight that fight unless you first fight the King Queen Eblin spot, which is not probably happening with this team at base levels. That spot has alarmingly high physical attack, very high speed, and it will kick your teeth in. So we'd love to get to that fight, but one of the side effects of jumping over the first one is you don't activate the second one.
That is very true. So missing out on that, it could be a big issue. So we also saw Maggie open up one of the trap chests, gets a cabin for her troubles, a fair amount of XP on Kane, gets him a little bit bonus, whereas Mecha Link decides he wants to jump over both Mylon Z locations, jumps right inside. Apparently, neither of those are gated by those two bosses, or the third boss in is not gated by the first two. So key item, free boss, and maybe fight something on the way out with this paladin.
Yeah, did you see what that item was? Mecha clicked through that a little fast for me to pick up on it.
It is a Baron key. Thank you very much to our tracker. Yeah, just a loading ring real quick. It is still going, just a little bit of lag. Don't mind the technical issues. Okay. Scala's doing a great job regardless.
There we go. Whew, I was just making sure, all it needed was a refresh. Good to know. So, excellent.
I do have some French vanilla on Mylon, though.
Yeah. Doing this lets him get his Cecil converted from a Dark Knight to a Paladin very quickly, and this fight is reasonably done at base levels, especially with that Firebomb. Got lucky to find a Mylon here. If he's willing to burn it, well, or you can just jump. Just jump. I mean, isn't that what the name of this is?
Exactly, press B, and that's exactly what Maggie did. So remember how you were saying if we found an edge up in Zot, we could do the boss? Well, wish granted, my friend.
Potentially. But did Maggie save before grabbing the characters?
That I didn't quite check, but I'm not sure. However, Zoe is one of the first ones underground, and is going to check another free key item, literally, in the Fey March, and to see what bosses are there.
I'm guessing Maggie did save because she is, or pardon me, they are taking this fight. It's Golbez. Not wanting to. We do have a starter kit this seed as well. If you pull up the exclamation point flags command, you can see that we have a basic starter kit. It comes with a couple of star veils. So this fight's actually doable if you can get a star veil up. It's very high magic attack. So Golbez will do all the work for you if you really want to go for it.
This is true, and it looks like Maggie does. She may have just wanted to swap some things around. I guess didn't put Edge in the middle, which is a big thing. His high speed really takes care of that. Also, Mechalink kind of showing off a little bit of a glitch there. If you saw him, he jumped over one of the tombstones at the beginning of Ordeals, and it actually put him back a floor as opposed to taking him right on out.
Oh, nice. Yeah. There are a lot of tiles in the game which are not labeled as true exit tiles from one zone to another. They're labeled as a return tile. It takes you back to, the previous room you were before entering a given area. So I don't know if that was the trick right there that worked for Mecha, but that's definitely one of those little things to keep track of. Everyone doing this lag has discovered new and different things, and it's fun to get 4 people on the screen at once to just try to pick up those little details that aren't widely known yet.
Exactly, and that's the nice thing. It's you could have done this. How many times you've run these seeds? I think I've seen you done at least 4 or 5 of them yourself, and there's still little things like that. There's this takes you back here. You know the science, but you don't know exactly which locations, right? So that little bonus. And additionally, we saw Mecha jump over the walls. It's so many different places. You think, I can just go here. This is a quicker way around for running through.
And we did get the Pan as that free Fey March item, which is fabulous on this flag set. That's going to give you an item from the Sylphs, 2 more from Sheila whenever you go to Fabul. That is a lot of key item checks out of the way very early in the seed. It's very nice.
Oh, it looks like Poitrak might be giving us our second official boss check, going down to that Antlion cave, but also to make a comment, or to comment on one of the comments in chat. Beowulf was asking, how do they get to Babylon Zot without the hook of the Earth Crystal? So the hook we explained, you can jump over as that. Not only is the fact, though, that Zot is fully accessible from the very beginning, it also accessible every time you finished it, because we don't want to have something, say, locked out of there if you didn't go and do, say, a trap chest and you have K trapped on. Well, that place could be technically locked out forever. So we made it so it's fully accessible with or without the Earth Crystal whatsoever.
Yeah. Normally, if you're not playing with this flag, you can fight the first boss. You can fight the Magus Sisters boss. And a lot of people have had those rude seeds where your Mist Dragon is hiding out there and you had to go up Zot, walk all the way back down, etc. But that first boss is available on every seed. The green guy in the Cleric's Chamber will run you on up there. No questions asked. And with this flag, you can also skip right to the second. You can skip actually to the boss fight in the final room, as we saw Maggie do. So you can complete it. The only thing you can't do, like Dissatisfied said in chat, you cannot access the treasury. But completing Zot? Who needs Earth Crystals? Who needs them?
Exactly. That key item might not even be required. Speaking of key items, Poitrak showing off that getting a Sand Ruby, so another character from the Antlion. Not a bad find, whereas Maggie goes all the way through Cave Magnus and finds the Darkness Crystal, one of our required key items. So she has 2 out of 3 required key items, and I think she fought, 1 boss so far?
Pretty much. And also, Maggie being kind of the heel of this seed, they're teasing chat, showing us, hey, you don't have to have music to get this item. So the only way we're getting music is if some kind-hearted soul actually decides to run the Twin Harp there properly. Sorry, chat. That is the one true downside of this flag set. Maybe you should just include the objective break the Dark Elf spell, because you can actually jump out after breaking the spell in this. The normal objectives, you have both complete Cave Magnus and break the spell. Can't do anything but do both either way. With push B to jump, you can break the spell and see ya.
Absolutely. However, we also saw a little bit, minus Mecha Link taking a reset there, we also saw the advent of the push B to jump. Both Cecil and Kane were jumping on that dragon. A little bit optimistic at these levels here, but it's going to be great XP when he can knock out that siren that he found. I'm pretty sure was in a chest somewhere.
Yeah, there was at least one, I believe, in Evelyn Cave that a couple of racers got, but they should be for sale somewhere. Not guaranteed, but again, this is S standard. Sirens, coffins, hourglasses, they're likely to be out there. With the S quarter, it's going to cost you a lot of items sold to be able to afford them, but they're still there as an emergency release valve if your seed just gets too hard for you to manage.
Absolutely, and it looks like chat pointing out to us, keeping us informed. They're for sale in the Feymarch, this seed, so easily accessible once they're underground. They just need to find the cash for it, and with the S quarter on, so everything's going to sell for a quarter of their prices. Going to take a little bit to be able to fund those, but I've been seeing some interesting things, some sorcerer robe, wizard robes, ogre axe, which I know you're a big fan of the item, but I think sirens could be a little bit more beneficial.
Oh yeah. So let's look at a few other things, a few other nuance about this flag set. We see Maggie flying to the moon, which of course there's another pre-character there. We got that sand ruby. I don't think Poydrak peaked the bed just yet, but Fu is a very strong character. He's one that in the current tournament, people have kind of complained about how overpowered he is. If you get enough bosses, you get Nuke, you get Quake, you get Weak for grinding super early. The push B to jump kind of trickily nerfs Fu. His flag set, his spells are gained every time you beat a boss. But what good is that if you can jump over half the bosses you'd otherwise be fighting?
Absolutely, and yeah, and the only thing to that you then have a Tella instead of a Fu, because Tella gains those spells without needing to fight bosses. But yeah, that has always been Fu's big selling point. You want to fight those bosses. In fact, we see people after they get an early Fu, they'll run around, say, to Mist Cave or Waterfalls, like, oh, these are easy bosses, easy peasy, knock them out. Speaking of getting knocked out, Poydrak finding a Dark Knight Cecil and a Lunar Sparkle as the King and Queen of the Feymarch, whereas Maggie the Cat is finding the other old man I was just talking about, not Fu, but in fact Tella sitting on the Lunar Throne. So no Fu in sight just yet.
Yeah, excellent addition. I wonder if Maggie is going to... So having gotten Tella there, I would be very tempted to run on down to the Lunar Subterrane. Most fights in the LSD you still have to complete, but you can jump over the activation tile for the Vanilla D Lunar spot, the ribbon spot in Vanilla, and grab those two key item chests. I probably wouldn't have done that without Tella because of how long a hike is back up there, but that's two prospective key items that they just left on the table. Another thing to keep in mind when you're running this flag set.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you were saying, two key items, a quick exit, and you're out, and there is that option for getting that right out of the way, whereas we see everyone kind of backtracking and taking each other's steps. Poydrak going through and making use of the pan that he's got. Mecha Link is actually going to be doing a new check in the source of Fabul.
Well, Zoe's
already knocked with the pan.
Zoe is one step ahead there, completing Fabul for the tower key, and I think he's already done the pan in the Sylph Cave, so I think we're about to see both Sheila checks to boot. So one step ahead.
Yeah, and again, we do find, so what did smack Yang with the pan? We do get that pink tail. I didn't quite see what the first, we are going to see the first item. It is the hook, free key item, free inventory space, and the legend sword. Sheila required.
So that's really impressive. We get, with the push B to jump flag, we basically got both the legend and the adamant completely free. Adamant from Bedward, Legend Sword from Sheila 2 with a pan for free in the Feymarch. That's one of our two big objectives complete. And we unlock, the Kakul shop, which, as standard, not as big a deal, but still, one out of the way. We know where Darkness Crystal is for Maggie. This is going to be a very jet seed as long as our racers clear your freebies. Clear your freebies, grind your sirens, win the game. Let's go, people.
Absolutely. And Zoe even checking one of the flags we have on for pretty much standard. So Rydia normally learns all the summons when she grows up. However, we didn't want to make her completely, useless in the summoning department. What you can do is go to the front of Hobbs and you get a free spell. Normally she learns fire in the vanilla game. However, here she learns a random spell. The spell shown up there was Cockatrice, one that is an instant stone. Don't count that one out though. That is really good for some free bosses. But we do have Poidrax showing a little bit of swag, going and talking to the dwarf from the one side and then sleeping off screen. That's interesting that the pathing is just auto there. It's not to the bed, it's to that specific location from where he talks to the dwarf.
Well, as long as you don't soft lock yourself. There are
Womp womp.
there are some places you can get away with that. I think Poidrax knew that and just wanted to show it off. You wouldn't save outside of Tomra for any other reason. So Poidrax just giving us cheeky good fun. So yeah, there's some ends you can sleep with, and you will walk back to the same spot in the counter. Others, you're stuck in a wall. It's not a good time.
And speaking of a little bit of cheekiness and some vanilla, we do see a vanilla Mom Bomb hiding a not quite so vanilla Sid, though. So Hobbs giving us a little bit of a nice spell, as well as a really nice character in addition.
Yeah. I will say, though, at this point, I am real excited about Maggie's situation. They've got that Tella from the moon. They're getting weak online now. They have a team that looks good enough to me to fight Zeromus. And I don't know how soon any of our other racers are going to go make that twin harp check. Reason being, they're either going to want to be generous to the fans and go there with the actual harp, or they're going to want to go there after a character has the exit spell. Well, you're not getting Tella without going to the moon, so you won't get his. I like Maggie's early advantage here. Just a question of if she goes and gets that other piece of the puzzle, they will have a very early
going, maybe hitting the Fey March, because that again is one of the bigger free key items we always think about. Regards to the way these seeds normally go anyways, you think, oh, let's hit Underground, let's hit Fey March, get me that free item, and then go from there. Whereas the only thing is, I would want to know who's actually in the bed, and then maybe you swap out Kane or Cecil for a White Mage if it's there.
Buy one asking in chat, any Cecil swords yet? No, we've not seen one. But this is as standard. So it is possible to find in shops the lightsaber for Cecil, the Gungnir spear for Kane. You can find all the way up to ninja blades for Edge. And Bacchus wines are theoretically for sale too. So we have really great weaponry available for all three of our big bruisers we've seen. The question is, how much are you willing to loot in order to be able to afford those?
Exactly. And question in the chat, or comment in the chat, is that Mecha has the mats to make the Excal. Indeed, he does. However, with this flag set, the Forge the Crystal, when you forge the crystal, you do not get the Excalibur. He says, hey, I'm going to hold on to this for now, because Kakul doesn't believe that you deserve the Excalibur because you get the ability to win the game instead.
Yeah, and it is kind of a tricky nuance between versions. If you do Classic Forge, you don't get an Excal. If you do the Custom Objective Forge, you do. Similarly, if you do Classic Giant Percent, there's no character at the end. If you do Custom Objective Complete the Giant, you still get a character. So it's a little nuance between the old version 3 options and the version 4 options. So it's very easy to be confused there. Perfectly understandable.
Exactly. The differences are still relatively new, even though we've been rolling out the 4.0 as official as I think 3 months now. Correct me if I'm wrong. two for sure. But there is just so many different things. But a question I actually wanted to have for you.
I have another loading screen. I'm going to wait for this blip to expire before I do the shop explanation. All right, it looks like we're back. So yeah, those specifically tier 5 weapons, there are 5 weapon shops you can find those in. Evelyn, Baron, Dwarf Castle, Tamra, Feymarch. So those are your options for the gated shops. If you don't land them in any of those, they could still appear in Kakol's shop. Kakol's shop can have anything that's not in the others. Well, tier blah or higher, of course. So those are the locations you can check for those. You won't find them in your starting overworld shops unless you're playing S Wild, basically.
Interesting. That is really interesting to know. I was pretty confident, but I wanted to double check. Zoe actually going and finding that there is a twin in the bed, so that Sand Ruby is definitely going to be something beneficial. Gets them a full white mage as opposed to just Hela in the end. So if we don't find Bacchus Wines, at least we have a full white mage to replace any one of our DPS who don't exactly have high key weapons to make sure everyone can survive post Big Bangs.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think most of these racers would like to get that white mage. I don't think Maggie will need one. Just again, they've got 3 of the best physical attackers in the game. You might swap one of them for a really high-leveled Yang, but Edge, Cecil, Kane, find a source of Zerk, find a good weapon. Who needs a white mage? Just tank through the big bangs, Zeromus dies. GG.
And yeah, like you were mentioning, getting that Yang, he's basically one of the only ones that can be the most discounted, unequipped person and still pop out like 4 or 5k hits with his fist with the base equipment. He doesn't need equipment, he needs a whole lot of levels to make him viable. First about 40 or so is when you look and you go, I mean, you have him around, he's okay, but once you hit around 50, then he starts to be like, hey, these are what the big boys can do, I can start swinging like that too. You get into 60 though, and he can I think the only thing that beats him out then as Excalibur / Crystal Sword Cecil, if I remember correctly, because he can actually outswing everything else at that point. You'd know that a little better than me.
Oh, no. You've got it. Only other exception I can think of would probably be a spoon-wielding Edward. But yeah.
But he's just better than everything. So, I mean, if you get a spoon Edward, which I want to see tonight, I really want to see someone find Edward. I want to see the spoon, and I want to see him go to town. We might not see that, but that's the dream.
And Groundflyer in chat saying, Punch Mage like to punch. And honestly, we've jokingly referred to Yang as a punch mage for quite some time, but it really didn't hit me like how hard Fabul Gauntlet really finally made that connect in my head that he is a mage. Like your other mages, his damage is really based on his level. He properly hits his stride in the low 50s. If you can land an elemental weakness with him, he's going to be dishing out a lot more damage than if you don't. Yeah, Yang is a mage. It sounds funny to say, but it's actually accurate for how to use him in your party, I think.
And speaking of some mages and some white mages, we find a Rosa with a lovely wyvern right there. That is a pair that you don't want to see together, but do want to see together. Wyvern, a boss that we're not forced to fight, but the same token, might also have Mecha Link with the wrong character organization. He has Riddy in the middle, and the overworlds where you actually want to have a faster anchor as opposed to a slower one. Yeah,
the nice thing about the Wyvern in the Baron Inn is that it is, the karate spot is a very slow spot. So theoretically, you're going to have time to get your Starvels up. Poidrak did that, got Rosa for his white mage. So should be fine. It's always a shock when you're surprised by it. But if you have even a little preparation, I think you're going to be good here. And I think Mecha will not get tricked a second time.
Exactly. We saw him lower his battle speed a little bit, going to get those Starvels up. And yeah, 1 Starvel is really all you're going to need, maybe 2. But this fight's going to be no issue the second time around.
Yeah, the spell power here is pretty low. Like, this Reflected will not actually kill it. One roll of Mega Nuke that's about how much it does, about 1250. So you would actually need to get star levels up on 4 characters to get the insta-kill here. So hopefully just jumping with the DPS will get through. If not, it's slow enough to be able to win through attrition here, I think, too.
Absolutely, and with attrition, all they need to do is continue to jump, because even if they get to the nuke phase, which I highly doubt we'll see, they're just going to be jumping over the nukes when they're reflected back.
And I believe Maggie did get the Famar's chest. Yeah, there's the pan in their inventory. So Maggie has the pan, doesn't know it yet, but in go mode. I think someone, again, we have a huge race tonight, y'all. We have how many racers tonight? I pinged the bot earlier to see the number of entrants. That's 3, 6. Oh, well, I was in there at the old race, sorry. We have, I believe, 18 to 20 participants tonight. So we have a lot of racers. I think someone's going to find this route, and I think we're going to see a sub-hour finish tonight. I'm excited to see how fast someone can wrap this up.
I mean, same, and I would love to see how fast this goes, but I also want to see more people actually go and do the music. Again, like especially our featured runners, it'd be nice if we see what was rolled, even though it's not required. To answer chat as well, nobody has finished off the stream. We are currently at the most... we know Maggie has the furthest progression out of anybody that we can know of. So no finishes yet, but I'm excited to see... It is technically possible for about a 40-ish minute finish if they went, got Tella, did ordeals, got everything else, and then did a grind immediately, because then you can do that, forge the crystal, get the crystal, run up, and then you're done. So this only really requires maybe 45, 50-ish minutes if you go hit every right check immediately.
Absolutely. And Maggie is now on their way, going to be doing the bop with the pan. Very soon going to find the other half of that forge. Mecha, meanwhile, taking care of that, getting his first of the 2 objectives out of the way. No one else on Restream. Again, I'm believing that everyone here is trying to love on chat, wait for the twin harp. And that is
only hope.
That is a spicy Kakul shop. I saw Zeus gauntlets, I saw Murasame's, power shirts.
That is everything you could want and more for your physical DPS, especially considering you have an Edge. You know what Edge is going to like? Those swords.
Those swords, that shirt, that gauntlet. But the thing is, I think those swords cost about 93,000 a piece. And to have to buy 2 of them? If you want them, you better get loot.
Hey, exactly. You know where's a great source of loot? If you go now, you can go to Eblan Castle. Through these 3 other checks as well, you may find a second Mirasame, or a Masamune, or even an Excalibur through those trap chests.
And we have good news for you, chat. Poitrak did just find a twin heart in the barren garbage pail. So it will not shock me to see him head there soon. Again, we can clear out that cave without ever listening to music. Oh no, Poitrak, that's not where the tunes are. Where are you going?
He wants to forge his X-Cow so he doesn't have to worry about that. So this way he's got this done, and then he's gonna see that giant and go, oh, this is my darkness crystal. Let's go to the moon and get that character. Oh, here's Matella. We're gonna head to the giant and go finish this scene.
Actually, does Poitrak still have a Dark Knight Cecil? I don't think he's done ordeals yet, but...
As far as I'm aware, I don't remember him going up ordeals, but he's going to see that talent, and he's going to go, we're going ordeals right now. And then he's also going to see that very, very stock shop. Oh, Ribbon was the last item there. Not exactly as great outside of the vanilla game, but still a fantastic pickup if you can find it in chests earlier.
Yeah, and Drogan in chat asking, what's Kaizo about this? It's not actually a difficult flag set, but precise jumping will be highly advantageous to you with this April Fool's push B to jump flag enabled. This enables you to have a Final Fantasy Mystic Quest style jump across one tile, like Poitrak's illustrating there. You can jump up levels and down levels, and in combat, anyone can use the jump command now. So it's a cheeky little flag that actually adds some pretty fascinating strategy to the game, and we're having a blast with it since it was released just under a week ago.
So I've got the real big question about this. If this is basically referencing Kaizo, such as the Mario games, where are the shell jumps? I don't see those yet. No turtles have been seen.
Imagine on a harder variation of this flag set, fighting a rude Kaizo, having the time to jump over every single big wave so you don't die. Or wave, not big wave, so that you don't die.
I mean, I'd be down for something like that. We've got to find a way to make required Kaizo as elements with this push B to jump flags. Somebody has to make it happen. Regardless, Poidrak does get everything down and coming up. He's with that Piggy Paladin going to be obtained real quick, along with the Baron key, which is unnecessary, but does give access to that gated shop, however.
Yeah, although I think someone mentioned earlier that you can actually jump into that shop with the flag. I hadn't tried that yet, but if the barrier is on the south side of the door, you can probably just jump in there. I didn't notice it myself early in the seed, but I'm gonna turn on my Super Nintendo and find out while these racers cross paths.
Hey, you know what? For science, absolutely perfectly fine. But we do have, again, Mecha Link going and doing the fight back in Baron. Maggie is fighting some luggage, and Zoe is actually doing the boss's on ordeals, it looks like, because that is a back attack Magus Sisters, as opposed to jumping over there. May have missed the jump, or something along those lines, or doesn't know that you can jump over those bosses to go in, because I would have assumed that the flag to get in that door is from those bosses.
Yeah, well, I honestly, it can be surprisingly tricky to time your jumps here. Nearly every one of these seeds I've played, for, again, using the giant percent, you have to clear the giant. I push B like 5 frames too soon, and I do not jump over the elements fight. And then I reset, and I push it too soon again, I reset, and then finally I get to skip my elements fight.
That is very true. I've watched you reset very frustrated a couple of times with that element spot before going to the CPU. But Zoe getting a back version front attack of the Pale Dim at the first location, whereas Poidrak's climbing down and Mecha Link is going into one castle and Maggie in another.
So one other important thing to note, Poidrak has hit the 10 key item count. Yeah, I'm gonna wait 1 second for chat to make sure we're here. All right, let's back up. So Poidrak has hit 10 key items. That does earn him double XP. Looks like he's gonna go ahead and grind now with Sirens rather than waiting. Personally, if I have to do Giant anyway, I like just waiting a little longer. But this will make it to where anything else he has to do in the overworld is gonna be a piece of cake.
But the thing is, maybe he is going to be doing the thing and giving us music, so he wants to get a few levels for that. That is my hope, that he's getting those extra levels. And again, he doesn't know where Tella is. It could be behind a key item that you don't want to go and do. It could be behind... Actually, what other key item characters would we have? Oh, behind the package. And who wants to go find a package to get a Fu or a Tella? Whereas we already know what character's in the bed. He's already done Baron. I don't think he saw the Earth Crystal characters, though. So he hasn't done there, which is where he might be going. Or we might be getting music. I could have called my shot correctly.
And I'm reporting live from the Free Enterprise Test Kitchen. You cannot jump into the Baron Weapon and Armor shop without first unlocking it.
That's unfortunate.
Sad to say, it's heartbreaking.
But what isn't heartbreaking is that Poidrak is, in fact, the man of the people. He's going to give us everything we're looking for. He's going to give us a little taste of some music tonight.
I really hope that he follows the correct sequence here to play it and then say, "See ya, nerd," to the Dark Elf and not even care about doing the fight. Because it also shows a fun little other bug with how the doors are programmed in this game.
I did see you do that, and I do hope that he shows that off. It is fantastic. Whether or not he actually goes and, again, he could save ahead of time, go show off that cheeky little glitch, and then reset, grab key item, and leave. Or we'll see what he's going to do in this area, though. However, Mecha Link is through Baron and is going to get himself his own little punch wizard, while Maggie is going to get themselves a White Mage and Baron with Zoe hot on their heels.
Poidrak actually starting the fight, not jumping over. looking for a quick way to... nope, no good way to really knock yourself out here, it seems. But just going to wait on those Dark Elf spells. We'll probably knock down the 2 characters who aren't paralyzed.
Yeah, and he's going to be attacked.
Sure if Poydrak has a source of exit once done in the cave. Anyway, I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to turn up the volume. I want to hear these tunes. Chat, we'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. And with that, Poydrak gets his Darkness Crystal, chat confirming that this is Battle 3, or the FF3 boss. Still by Dark Elf, no thank you. We're going to cuddle up with Edward.
And he does show off that cheeky little glitch. He does have a source of exit in Cecil himself. So you see that there's actually a return door. So it returns you to the previous scene that you were on. So he gets his item, leaves, says hi to Edward in the bed, and then exits right on out as to show off that lovely little glitch. And he's still considered in the cave, if I remember correctly. So that is why exit works from there.
It's beautiful. Mecha Link, not a moment behind though, also picks up the Darkness Crystal. Also gonna go, well, actually does not play music. Mecha Link, not the people's hero. Poydrak is tonight. Mecha Link even had that harp and didn't play it. You monster.
I know. See, he doesn't understand. We're here for the fun and the memes, and maybe he doesn't know about the Edward glitch. Maybe he'll go back watching the. We got to show this off from now on. But we do have Zoe going and seeing what was in Odin. I didn't quite see it was down there, but I see a super nope out of that location. Whereas Poydrak getting himself a hovercraft and going to go turn in a Pinktail. It looks like.
Yeah, we've kind of, although shops can have really great weaponry here, we've seen that Kakul shop. The problem is when you can jump over all your bosses, how are you gonna pay for it? How are you gonna pay for it? And so if you can just get something really spicy from this Pinktail, you probably don't need to. That is not the spice we are looking for.
I mean, it's spicy when Bahamut opens his mouth. It's very hot. But aside from that, not a whole lot of money. It's enough to maybe get a piece of something. Whereas we have Maggie forging themselves the Legend Sword, and still has to go and... Oh no, has fully done the pan, so is in complete go mode at this point. Just needs to go do a little bit of grinding on some D machines, go and finish off the boss, and then Zeromus, really.
This is going to be really interesting to see the strategies used here. Again, we've not found particularly great weaponry, but if you just get enough levels, who cares? Cure 4 your way through it. If you can get a Rosa to level 50, pretty much all panic is gone out of the entire seed. So we're off to the races here in that regard. What I am wondering, though, is if any of our non-restringed racers cut to the chase here sooner, we're going to have some really cool finishes tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have at least, out of 20 racers, we're going to get at least one sub-hour, probably 2 or 3.
That was actually what I was going to say. I was excited to see how many people go sub-hour. Also, Poydrak finding something very interesting, seeing those Bacchus wines for sale in Eblin Cave. So there is that as an option if instead of going for, say, a lot of good weaponry, get yourself some Bacchus wines. Don't have to worry about Rosa doing that, and then just overkill your grind to, say, level 70, like is mentioned in chat, and then just throw that curse ring on Tella and say, hey, you did your job, you got everyone else up to power, have yourself a good nap, old man.
Yeah, and Blind One in chat, surprising that no one but Maggie went into Zod. Again, that's a big trade-off that not everyone likes. I know Maggie, I believe, was watching when I was doing that in some pickup races Saturday. I like that exchange, because again, 2 characters, Siren's likely to be available. I like the play. On the other hand, if you go up there and you get, I don't know, Edward and Porum, maybe a little less exciting. So it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off that you have to choose your battles. On this seed, getting an edge from that, I like it.
I'll do a counterpoint to you there, though. See, you say, oh, it's getting Edward, whereas the flags we have on here now, we have the spoon flag on. Yes, we may not find it, which we haven't found it yet. Someone might find it in the lunar subterrane with those 2 free chests you said. Getting an Edward, grind him up to about the 60 mark, throw on that spoon. He's got the HP to survive, and he's going to do way more damage than anybody else in the seed currently.
Yeah, and another option, there are at least 2 racers in this community race who are experts at solo Edward strats and would very much love to find a bard, say, you know, forget grinding. You do have to hope for a relatively free boss at your CPU fight then. That's the other thing I liked, you know, when we were putting this flag set together this past week. And that's adding in giant percent negates a lot of the power of Edward strats. I mean, still, there are bosses that can end up there that you can just take care of with an hourglass with a well-placed spell from Tella. You know, you shrink something with Mini, you turn it into a frog, have at you. But the Eddie strats, they take a little bit of a backseat here to some other options, I think.
Yeah, and that is a really good thing of pointing out. Like you said, it's the Eddie strats are still available, but they're less likely to happen. So it's not saying, oh, I found Edward. Okay, my seed is now free because all I need to do is jump over everything and not worry about bosses. Well, you still, like you said, still have to worry about the giant boss. We got very lucky in finding both the Legend Sword and the Adamant very, very early on, like basically given to us for free, quite literally at this point. If they weren't there, maybe we'd have to fight some rude bosses. Maybe we'd have to do some more in the lunar subterrane. Who knows? It is a little unfortunate with where some of these items are in the sense of showing off where you can jump through, because not a lot of people are, say, jumping through the subterrane. But we are seeing some cheeky jump locations. I know Poidrak and I think Mechalink also jumped through the walls in Feymarts themselves, so they didn't have to go all the way around, showing off that there's more solid ground that you think, even though you get to see right underground.
Yeah. And our restreamer Scala letting us know that Zoe is having audio issues, so we may not be getting a musical reprise. Apologies, chat. You got your good dose of it from Poidrak. Oh, Zoe doesn't even care. Zoe has priorities.
Zoe, Mechalink, and Maggie all say, no, we don't have music. Our priority is going fast. Again, Poidrak, the people's champion. He knows we want music. He does so much work for us, and he's just like showing off everything anyways.
I'm completely in I'm rooting for Poidrak. I think Maggie has the advantage here with this D machine grind. Gonna get so many levels so quickly as long as they execute it correctly. Poidrak also going to get a lot of levels. I saw 11 Sirens in his inventory last I looked. 10 key items, getting 68,000 a pop from these yellow dragon eggs. So I like what I see from Poidrak. I like what I see from Maggie. But come on, Poidrak gave us the tunes, y'all. Gave us the tunes.
That's true. Also, in addition, he is going to use that Cecil as his anchor, which is a very good option in the sense that, again, we found no good Cecil weapons. Kane's rocking that Blizzard Spear. Rydia's going to be doing nuke things. We have everything else we need to finish this off, really. Get Rydia up to nuke. Let Cecil kind of take a nap with that 1600-ish HP. Not a high amount for Zeromus, but still pretty good.
Oh yeah, more than enough to survive a nerfed Big Bang. One thing I don't like though, I really hate, and this is personal preference, even with 10 key items, an egg grind with Rydia to get nuke is so slow. She is so many people's favorite character from vanilla. I blame the anime green hair. You gotta have green hair, or blue hair. You gotta be anime. But her XP curve is trash. It is so bad. It takes her so long. If you weren't doing any kind of slingshot or 10 key item strats, it takes her 24 D machines to go from level 1 to nuke. But, you know, this is not a bad grind. Poidrak doesn't know there's a Tella waiting for him, so I think this is the correct choice based on his current knowledge. But Maggie is going to get a lot of levels very quickly here.
Absolutely. They do have 9 key items, not the 10, unfortunately. So they are going to need to do a full grind, not the half grind if you had the 10. So that is a little bit in Poidrak's favor in that aspect. But again, Poidrak having also not gone up to the Tower of Zot, missing out on those 2 characters, might have swapped out that Kane for an Edge or something. That's one of those, like, back and forth. And knowing the characters we've seen available really easily, really quickly, who would have been your, quote, Zeromus team at this point?
I mean, okay, so Maggie basically followed the route I take, except that I probably would have delayed Cave Magnus until I had a source of exit, which would have hosed me. But I would probably have ended up with Cecil, Kane, Edge, Rosa, and a 5th character, gone to the moon, saw Tella, and then I would have been off to the races. So I like Maggie's team. That is a team I would be rolling with here. Even with relatively bad weapons, it's hard to say no to Trizerker.
Absolutely, and that's why I was saying if you threw, say, Yang instead of Cecil at this point, anchor Utella, that would honestly be probably your good 3 Trizerkers there. Because again, we have and we have Tella actually taking a bonk from the B machine. But like I was saying, you have the Trizerkers who don't need anything other than fist-to-face situation, whereas with Yang doing all right on his own, doing perfectly fine on his own, Edge doing okay with some of the swords we've seen, and Kane being serviceable with the Blizzard Spear, whereas the best thing we found for Cecil right now has been that Ogre Axe.
Yeah. And Maggie, by the way, very fortunate there, apparently has some good fire-resistant gear on a few of their characters. It is always annoying when one of your physical attackers takes their swing before the weak spell goes off. This does result in a physical counter, which at these levels will kill pretty much anyone on your team. But if you have fire resist, you're not taking 20% per flame from the D machine. You're taking 10%. You have time to get Tella back up, time to get him healed, time to get that weak off. No reason to panic. So excellent recovery. I know I panic when my source of weak gets hit. Maggie, beautifully executed.
Absolutely, just shows that it's again a little bit towards their nerves, getting everything back up and on back on schedule. Gonna get this kill, gonna get this life glitch. Again, just very nice as an overall. The grind going. I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping track of either Poidrak or Maggie's grind, but we do have Mecha also joining in with the D Machine grind location.
Well, Poidrak did just get Holy on his Rosa and considers that enough. Apparently, I like this. I'll tell you why. 10 key items. Poidrak probably gets enough from the CPU fight to get ready of the rest of the way to nuke. So not worrying about it here, instead going to opt to finish off the grind by fighting the required boss. So that's actually pretty clever. I wonder. Oh, and also you have Bahamut already, so you don't need nuke for the CPU fight. So this is actually a really great play by Poidrak, letting his Rydia get that final bump from a fight that's required anyway.
That's very true. Again, Mega Nuke being AoE Nuke essentially is it the same power as Nuke, or is it a little bit lower due to match the higher MP count? I'm not 100% sure on that, actually.
I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure it is. What I can tell you for certain is that it's slower. It is significantly slower. Nuke has no delay. Bahamut Summons has quite a bit of delay. But, I've got some resources. I'll dig it up while we watch these grinds wrap up and see who is at that CPU spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, speaking of the grind done, Mecha Link looks like he may have found his fight, where Zoe is finding a Mylon. Didn't quite see the location where she is at right now, but getting through it pretty decently. Yeah, Maggie's done with her grind and showing us an officer and soldier, an extremely furry fight. And if you had a source of stop, this is a great spot to get even more experience. So this would be a nice little additional set of experience to be gaining. Poidrak able to stop that, will shove his Rydia right up where is necessary, and Mechalink actually in the right fight as well.
Huh. For some reason, FF4Kster is not giving me the right info on that, but for that, we go to the wiki. One of the racers in this match, Simbu, definitely keeps excellent track on all of these. Nuke has a spell power of 400, scrolling down. Bahamut has a spell power of 480. So Bahamut's a little bit stronger. It's about 20% stronger, but it does have a delay of 6 versus a delay of a whopping 0. So if you're fighting a big batch of enemies, yeah, roll with Bahamut. If you're doing your agility manipulation right, you will still probably go first with it. But in a singular fight with a one enemy, Nuke is definitely what you want.
Absolutely, and we might actually see Poidrak get his Rydia up to that Nuke level with this fight if he can do the grind properly here. Again, life 2 glitch on the officer soldier. You find a way to weaken him, knock him down, and then life 2. That's a great source of XP right there.
Yeah, PK calling it out in the chat. So when you're fighting bosses that don't have the boss bit and are thus vulnerable to status effects, those status effects persist if you life to them back up. So for stop doesn't. If you hourglass, when you revive something, its ATB is back to normal. If you were to frog, if you were to mini, either of those here and you revive, they are still where they were. So the funny thing is that we kind of had an even easier grind than the D-Machine grind, just no one peaked here. That's one of those subtle things that you should always check for in a race. I know I had a pickup race where I had this fight at Elements, and because I opted to grind on it rather than hunt a D-Machine, I beat out some really good racers by a few minutes because they went right for the grind instead of checking the boss. So huge advantage to Poidrak here. 300,000 XP. And yeah, gonna be heading to Zeromus very soon. And we have a little walk to do though.
And with 52 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, yet he is officially in go mode. I don't believe we have seen, and we have not seen a finish yet though, so he has a very good striding lead towards that finish, whereas Maggie hot on his heels to finish out the seed just as quickly.
Yeah, and Poidrak checks those levels. I believe we did just see 50 on Rydia, so she does know Nuke, has Nuke and Holy. Nuke, Holy, we have a Yang, again, a mage. His power comes with levels. So I'm wondering if we're going to see some hybrid strats, if we're going to see some pure reflect strats. Definitely a couple options here. I'm sad the moon wasn't required. Again, you can jump the D-Lunar spot if you want to loot their chests without fighting them. But there's one other cheeky thing you can do with the jump flag that I'll try to point out as Poidrak approaches it down here.
Yeah, I was really hoping that we'd see him show up, because he's been doing nothing but showing off some of the cheeky things. Like you said, the soft lock, he's shown us the music and the Edward glitch. Maybe he'll show us off some more of the other different locations, like for example, like you were saying, jump past, there's 2 freaky items, but he is seeing himself getting another Boing mage, an old Boing, and may have wanted to come up here a little earlier. I think he's still very happy with what he's got. Oh, he might be getting rid of the fake out.
He thought about it for a second. You do get access to the Cure Force spell, which is a full heal, single targeted. Poidrak also did illustrate that if you jump, you are in low gravity on the moon. So just a fun little illustration. You have it in Cave Bahamut as well. You don't have it in the LST. I guess Boardface didn't want to slow us down too much. But yeah, Saveless Wyvern is what I wanted. Flurry and Scala calling it out in chat. You will see the Wyvern altar off to your right when you're coming down through this path. If you go in the door next to it, it's a return door. Does not take you to the save room. So doing that fight without saving on the way down is very swaggy, and I love it, but we're probably not seeing it. Poitrak actually taking a little longer walk here. There are a few little singleton gaps that you can pass through here if you want to. Probably a little more focus on wrapping up because we have seen a finish in the race room. Simbu has taken first place with a time of 54 minutes, 7 seconds. Very well done by Simbu. I knew we'd have at least one sub hour. I'm thinking we're going to see a few more during this hike of Poitrax.
Yeah, GG's to Simbu. Again, a fantastic resource of knowledge. He's very helpful in the community at the large. Helps out new players all the time. Great guy. Sometimes we see him on the commentator's couch. When we do, it's always a pleasure just to pick his brain when we can. Yeah, GG to him. I expect to see Poitrak and Maggie possibly finish maybe the 59-something mark, if we're lucky. Maybe just cresting that hour mark. But yeah, like you said, may see another sub hour in the chat, not on one of the restreamed runners, but still, everyone who's been running this, whether it's the runners who are here, runners who are off stream, they've been doing a fantastic job showing all these, showing out for the community and just showing off some of the new flags that we've put out there.
Yeah, Maggie doesn't quite have the levels to have Holy on Rosa. Best weapon looks to be Team Ogre Axe on Cecil. Oh, taking the long way around though. The missing out on a couple of those shortcuts. Poitrak illustrating the cute little cheeky jump on the left side there, but Maggie a few steps ahead. Although Poitrak does have the Nuke and Holy in his pocket, Maggie has the Ogre Axe in theirs. Poitrak may end up being the restream hero just because of playing that Twin Harp. It gives you good luck. We saw it in the Rivers Paranoia match last night to close out the round of 16. It's be good to the fans, and the seeds will be good to you.
That's how it always is. Validate your seeds, check your music, show the people what we would love to see, and as you see, it can make or break your runs. Whereas we have Maggie and Poitrak both jumping in this at the same time. Poitrak showing off that you can talk to him, run around. The swag master, the people's champion, in my opinion, whether he comes out of this race first or not. We do, however, have one really big question. Again, Zeromus can't be randomized, but Inven, please ask the question for the people.
Oh no, you said there are things that we like to see. You know what I like to see? I like to see whose butt we're gonna kick tonight. Show us, Maggie. Show us.
Absolutely. Those of you who haven't done so, get those Z flags out in chat. I know there are some of you out there. Let's see exactly who Maggie is going to show up to Zeromus's real form in this push B to jump Monday night community race.
And by the way, we do not have a second place finisher yet. Simbu has taken first, but second could very well be claimed by one of these two restream E's between Poitrak and Maggie. Both entering the fight, both transforming that Zeromus. Maggie gonna have a little more of a Zerk Fest. Poitrak has the Reflect strats on lock. Let's see which one wraps up first as they battle the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland and probably a sprite taken from some Kingdom Hearts 2D kind of situation, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it looks very much like a Kingdom Hearts 2D animation, whereas we have Mecha Link and Zoe still doing different locations. Mecha Link still in his grind, and Zoe actually checking out and finding a Foo inside the Dwarf Castle. Nice to find, great considering we have such low income DPS. Already has that nuke too, so he is completely online.
Yeah, that Foo, only coming at 1500 HP, does have the weak spell. Not shabby, not shabby. But Zoe illustrating, you know, the weakness of Foo on this flag set. I kind of like it. You know, there are ways to further nerf Cecil. Cecil, you know, if you get a Crystal Sword and Excal, so strong. Cover ability, so strong. But if you know, flip the switch on vanilla agility anchoring, and make it so you can't get rid of him, all of a sudden you have to work around that. It's something we don't usually play with because it's very hard for newbies to wrap their heads around, like, wait, why is it this character no matter where they are instead of my middle character? Why, if I don't have him, it's my middle character? So there are ways to nerf Cecil, and even Foo's little, you know, gain spells at level up flag, not that big a nerf. But this flag set, making it to where you don't have to fight so many bosses, but you still have to travel a bunch. Kind of a cheeky little foo nerf. I dig it.
Absolutely, and again, makes Tella just rise that little bit of priority over top of Cecil in that aspect, or sorry, of Fusoya in the aspect instead of Tella being the higher out. But we do have a couple of other finishers hitting in as we're hitting that 1 hour mark. We have Jivas coming in at second place at 59 minutes, 27 seconds, and Dia coming in it's about 30 seconds behind at 59 minutes and 50 seconds. So we have some more GGs and to them coming in our first 3 places as we're hitting the 1 hour mark on the restream.
Hey, so we did get 3 finishers sub-hour. Called it.
Yeah, you did. I was hoping for a few more to happen, but again, seeing the top 3 coming in under an hour, especially just under the wire with Dia, fantastic amounts to be getting in. So still you're going to see which one between Poidrak and Maggie are going to be coming in at the post 1 hour mark.
Absolutely. Currently swinging for the fences here in this C fight. Poidrak apparently doing combined hybrid strats. Not just going for the reflect kill here, even though it has both Holy and Flare. Nuke, White, whatever you want to call them. And Maggie going more the Tri-Zerker route. So I've not been keeping track of damage. So we'll see. We'll see. Zoe hunting for the D-Machine grind fight. Mecha seeing that, oh, why did I bother grinding with a D-Machine? Ah, easy peasy, CPU squeezy.
Absolutely, and getting that weak going in, and in fact going to be knocking out his own Tella real short here, while Cecil is berserked up and is going to be knocking out these guards and the officer real quick. Whereas we do have a flash on Poidrak's screen at the 1 hour, 1 minute, and 32 second time. GG's for our 4th place finisher, Poidrak.
Poidrak taken first out of our 4 restreamed racers, 4th overall. Beautiful hybrid strats, cut down that Queen of Hearts in no time at all, it seemed. I'm sure Maggie is going to be right behind him, but get your GG's out for Poidrak. And we'll see if we can get him in for an interview soon.
And we are in fact joined by him with GG's Poidrak in your 4th place finished, and well raced, my friend.
Yeah, I kind of like this. It's a wonderful little jaunt through what can you skip.
It's a very fun flag set. I hope we see a lot more pickup races with this, even though this is, it's a community race. You don't see a lot of repetition, but this April Fool's flag is so good. What's your favorite thing to do when you're playing with the push B to jump flag?
Normally it would be to oh, that's a good. There's a lot of the things. I think I showed my favourite actual interaction, which is in Tomba, where you jump behind the counter, you sleep in there, and you just can't move afterwards for some reason. It soft locks you basically. You're stuck in the wall. Oh, you can press, you can jump, and it makes a really big crunching sound.
For the love of God, Montresor!
Yeah, that's probably my favourite interaction. But being able to skip a whole load of things, and I'm not sure if anyone showed the upper baffle skips that was available, because we did have that Magmickey start, so we didn't really need to do that. But that's also a nice thing. And if you get, you can jump over the sort of event that's in the crystal room, which sends you down into the underworld. And there's a little room back there where you can keep walking in and out, and it makes ceiling tiles everywhere, and you can jump on them.
Speaking of, Mechalink actually did show us where you can jump over and onto some of the tiles of the roof where the Falcon rests. So you did show off a little bit of that. Oh, well, we have a buffering. Do you have a buffering, or is it just me?
I think it's back up now.
Yeah, it looks like it's back up. As I was saying, Mechalink was the one who showed off some of the other cheeky stuff with jumping over onto some of the roof tiles. But I think you were the one who showed off the most cheek between running around the soft lock, jumping back into the Edward bedroom. We do thank you for showing so much more of what the other streamers, some of the other streamers might not have seen.
You gave us Twin Heart music. No one else did. Everyone else just jumped it. Even people who had the harp jumped over it. You were the people's champion tonight, and I think that's why you one of the 4 restreamed racers.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be an early check or a check that people just weren't going to do, and well, it's harmless just to see the music, then just skip the boss afterwards. And yeah, I'd like to thank you, Venerable, for showing that, because that just blew my mind. And if I was going to get onto this restream today, like I did, I was going to show that off no matter what, no matter how long it took me to get that twin harp. And luckily, it came early, and it was required.
Beautifully done. One more question. What did you think about your grind choice once you saw the Kaipo guards at CPU?
I was still okay with it.
Okay.
I was actually doing it for Yang more than anything else, because I didn't really find a whole lot of decent weapons for Cecil or Kane. Yang was my damage dealer, and I needed those levels on him. The guards up the top were just gravy because I had Rydia with Stone. That was also a sort of stopping point as well, where I had something where I could get through any free boss or just beat the heck out of them.
Gotcha. Dathus, you got anything else, my friend?
No other questions. He pretty much showed off everything we were hoping for. Again, thank you very much for being the people's champion and showing off more little cheeky glitches, especially with jumping, as we're seeing on the screen now, jumping through the Fame Arch, showing that's actually solid tile there, not something that would make you fall over or be soft locking you into.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a whole lot more things found with this. Random doors in places no one ever knew about, or other walls that are available. It's something that people are going to explore and hopefully have fun with in the future. So yeah, hopefully it sticks around for a while.
Absolutely. Gonna share a few more finish times. You all saw it on the screen. If you didn't have your GGs out for Maggie, get them out now. Finished in 5th overall with 103.07. Very nice finish. Tybalt taking 6th, a couple minutes behind with a 105.59, and Annadelle in 7th with a 107.21. We'll see if we can get Maggie in here for an interview in just a second. Poydrak, GG's again. Very excellently played.
Yeah, have a good evening, everyone, and well, jump.
Only if you push B. And again, that was Poydrak, our 4th place finisher, 1st place finisher on the restream. Again, 1 hour, 1 minute, 32 seconds. And we are in fact joined by the 5th place finisher just behind him at 103.07, Maggie the Cat. GG, Maggie. Well raced.
Thank you. That was a fun one.
5 of 34 bosses. All these poor bosses just want a little love. Why so few bosses?
Why would you fight bosses when you can jump over bosses?
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that was a thing. There were a few times where I forgot to jump over bosses, as you probably saw me reset out of a few bosses, and you probably got to see a few bosses that other people maybe didn't forget to jump over.
Well, what we did see from you before anybody else was that Darkness Crystal. When you got the Darkness Crystal, Moon, Fountella, how did that change your routing plan? Because it seemed like you had a good idea of what you wanted to do this seed. Did that throw a wrench in it? How did you have to adjust on the fly?
Yeah, so as soon as I saw that, I was wondering if that was either going to be Tella or Fu up on the moon, and I was like, man, am I going to go do a D-Machine grind like right away? And then I was like, I'd better hold off because I don't have a white mage. And and I hadn't checked Baron at that point, and so that was what kind of really threw the wrench in the plan. So I was like, maybe I'll go make a few more checks, do a few more of the freebies. Like Invenerable says, always check your freebies. and see if I can find the legend sword. And sure, there was the legend sword just sitting there for the taking. So then I had my crystal, and then I went and found my white mage. So then I was like, well, now I'm going to do my D-Machine grind. I guess there's no reason not to.
So you had a kind of a tri-Zerker team going on. How did you feel about your weapon selection? Because there looked to be a few good things for sale. How did you decide to balance your looting, your selling, your finding weapons to actually use for this Berserker kind of strat?
Yeah, so my weapons were awful. I don't know how much y'all noticed, but like I had an ogre axe on Cecil, a rune axe on Kane, which I guess is okay, and then like I had a middle sword in my inventory for Edge that I guess I forgot to put on him, but otherwise he was rocking his starting gear, and I didn't even check weapon shops at all. So I was on T Pro chests. So I was basically just trying to get a few of the, the higher tier chests like Baron Inn, and I checked, like a couple chests in Sylph Cave and the chests going down into the Fame Arch, just trying to find something, and I really didn't find a lot that was really good, but I didn't check any of the item or weapon shops looking for weapons. And I was just like, in the end, I was just like, well, gotta go fast. I guess I'm just gonna go with what I got. And I've got Rosa. She's a good healer. She can Zerk us. I've got Tella as a backup Zerker. I found one Bacchus wine. We're just gonna go with this.
I guess that also answers my question. I was going to ask, like, well, you see you have a couple of character locations open still. Like, you got Baron Castle that you can cheekily jump behind for free access to other characters. And you were one of the few who actually checked and grabbed that edge up in Tower of Zot. Why maybe not go check Baron Castle proper to see if there was a Yang there? Could have grabbed something like that maybe to help with the monasteric monk of no cash option.
So I knew that Zot was pretty easy to get into, and I could do all the chests, and it had the 2 character checks up there, and I didn't have to do any of the bosses. I guess I wasn't sure. I haven't played with this flag set and the push B to jump flags like at all. So I wasn't really sure how much of it I could do without doing bosses, and I was mainly just trying to prioritize doing as few bosses as possible. So I wasn't sure how much of Baron I could do aside from just the chests without doing any bosses. So I was like, I guess I'm just gonna leave that alone for now.
So this is a question I asked Poydra. I'm going to ask everyone tonight. With regard to the push B to jump flag, what is your favorite place to use it? Bypass a boss, do a soft lock, take a cheeky shortcut. What is your favorite place in the entire seat? Not just where you went tonight, but where you've practiced going. What is your favorite place that this flag lets you abuse the game logic?
So like I said, I haven't really played with it hardly at all, so I haven't had a chance to experiment with it a whole lot, but I do really like going up into Zot and getting the 2 characters without having to do anything, basically, and I like going into Baron. Like, usually the play is to land the airship right away and go into Baron Town and get all the chests there, and now the play with this flag set is to land the airship, go into Baron Castle, and it's like the same number of chests, but in T Pro there are a lot better chests. So I like that, just that it's like it kind of it's like the same logic, but you twist it just a little bit, that it's you can abuse it a little bit more.
That was actually something I was going to mention, that you were one of the few who jumped right into Baron Castle first and looted that location. So the waiting there's how many chests total? I think something around the neighborhood of about 12 or 13 in Baron proper. What would have stopped you from looting all the chests there and just going for the beginning section?
I think from what I recall, Baron Town, the waiting is just not as good. So I was like, well, I'll just go for the better chests. And I mean, I could have gone. I was searching for items and for weapons anyway. But I was basically like, I want to do all the fun stuff like right away while I have it right on my mind. So I'm gonna show off that you can get into Baron like right away, and I'm gonna show off that you can get into Zot like right away. So that was kind of like what I was trying to do.
Well, you did a great job. Loved the route. You were the racer on Restream who showed us where Go mode was with that early darkness crystal. Knew you were going to be in great shape to have an excellent finish tonight, and sure enough, you did. Any final thoughts about the seed?
I really like the flags. Really looking forward to playing more with them. I think it's just something really fresh and really different. Not that we really need so much lately with the objective flags and everything else that we've gotten, but I think that we just keep getting more and more, and this is great. I think it's just one more thing that we can now add to community races and just casual races. So I think it's great, and I had a lot of fun. And thank you so much to Invent and Daphis for doing commentary, and Ravelin for tracking, and Scala for doing the restream, and for everyone showing up. This was a really great community race. We had a really great turnout tonight.
All right, based on chat's responses, I think we had a significant volume increase, so I'm going to use my inside. Okay, I'm not using my inside voice.
And then we get attacked.
We had a bunch more finishes right there at the end of that interview. We did have Zilch come in 8th place in the 1:12.21. Mecha, you saw it on screen, the 1:13.51. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview in a moment. Gambit with a 1:14.56. And we do have one forfeit. Someone apparently may have forgotten one of the options granted by this flag set. It happens. It's very easy to forget things on here. The other night, I forgot I was in Go mode until a friend of mine's like, "Why are you still hunting key items?" So yeah, it's a thing. We're so used to having all these objectives from Full Gauntlet, it's easy to overlook it. But we'll see if we can get Mecha Link in here for an interview very soon.
Absolutely. While we have Mechalink trying to be joined in, Zoe is on their way to Zeromus and is going to be knocking out that fight pretty quickly from seeing another D machine grind up on their end as well.
And we are joined by Mecha. GG's tonight. Well played.
My mic's on it. Thank you. Sloppily played, but jumping is fun. So.
Hey, I mean, if you're not having fun with this flag, why are you even playing, right?
Yep. I'm just really... We didn't get to do the two most interesting dungeons, in my opinion. And it's a real shame.
Well, I'm assuming one of them is the LST. What's your other most interesting one?
I like Babel and Luca.
Babel and Luca? Oh, pardon me.
Luca, you get to jump out of bounds. So you get to do the same in Babel.
Gotcha. I'm sad we didn't see that then. You showed me a bunch of out-of-bounds strikes that I wasn't aware of.
That's why I was focused on the jumping stuff. My technical play today was lacking, and it showed. But no, I definitely should. If you want to, we can after this. I can show you some of the other things. There's some out of bounds in Luca that are truly, truly gorgeous.
I'm excited to see it. That sounds fabulous.
Absolutely.
My favorite thing.
That's more the fun.
Saveless Wyvern, which wasn't necessary tonight. But so I'm guessing you said these are your two favorite dungeons. Do you have a specific one in either one that is just the best to do?
The best is Babel. No question. Where in Babel you get to do everything that the jump button allows you to do. And then some. And so Babel really is the best treat. Luca's just interesting because you can do the out of bounds make it very interesting. You get to skip the boss. It makes what is a painful check an incredibly easy check. Much like how Twin Harp, or rather not actually needing Twin Harp, it becomes super free.
Nice. Yeah, I will say, by the way, you were kind of the heel tonight. To use a pro wrestling analogy.
I was expecting when I figured out that you could skip music. I was like, oh, this is going to be so great. All right, we're getting music. No, we are not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our first three researchers to make it there were Maggie, who went there without a harp at all, so no way to do it. Poitrak, who played it for us, and then you went there and you were like, boing, boing, see you, nerds, playing.
We were working it out, and somebody was like, "Oh no, you can do it, and then you can jump over the block, right? The block's a person, right? So you can jump over the block, and then if you exit, once you end up back in Edward's room,
And
Right,
Poydrak
like-
showed that off. Yeah.
Okay, Bojack showed that off. All right, because and you can exit out of that one. But then I was like, okay, let me go reproduce that, and then I tested them. Oh no, you just don't need. So.
Ah, such a villain. But we love having a villain, you know. I mean, this
Sometimes needs a villain. No, I'm totally fine with that. No, there's being able to skip all the bosses on ordeals. Some people thought you couldn't skip the other one, like the second one on the way back, right? Like, because you can't turn unless you jump over first, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's all those little things where it's like, is this possible? And the answer is sometimes yes. But yeah, there's some really beautiful skips that this enables. And like I said, like the Babel one is just the one that's just the prettiest, and the one that's just like the most weird is definitely Luca.
well, I'm gonna hit you up in the DMs. I want to see some of these shenanigans. But Dathus, I'm turning it over to you. What questions you got?
Yeah, I mean, I screwed up my D machine grinds, right? Like I had the safety of an hourglass. I bought it specifically as a safety for the D machine grind, and I blew it, right? Like just sloppy technical play on that front, and that cost me significant chunks of time.
I mean, you're having a good time. It happens.
Yeah, and
I was having a good time. Like I was focused on all that, and yep.
And actually, speaking of the grinds, once you saw what boss was behind the D machine at the top of Giant, was your thought like, well, maybe this would have been a better place to grind because again, you can stop, weak, and then a life to it to get a little bit more XP out of that, considering I think you were at the 10 key item mark when you get that location.
I was at the 10 key item mark. Yeah, I mean, that would have been a fast grind as well. It's Red Imps or that fight, right? Like, were the ones that were left that would have been life doable. Right? Like, so it's like 2 out of 30. Like, it's like... Like, I didn't really feel like checking it, much like I didn't feel like checking elements for the, possibly free fight that's a pilot experience.
Very true, very true. Again, nicely raced, 9th place overall, 3rd place on a restream. Very well done. And I hope when we get to see another one of these races, I hope we get this flag set again. You can maybe show off some more of the cheekier out of bounds locations that you and Venerable are going to be talking about later on, as you've mentioned.
Yeah, no, there's some really beautiful stuff. It's like I said last week. I think like this is a flag set that I think we will revisit, right? Like a couple times a year, right? Like rather than just like this one time a year. Like I think we'll go back just because it is sort of fun and wild to see some of the skips.
All right, again, that's I think everything I got for him. Unless in Ben, you thought of something else you wanted to ask him while we were chatting?
Oh no, I think Mecha has done a great job of teasing us with other options available in this flag set, and I'm hoping we don't just do this a couple times a year. I think this is really fun, really strategical, and I think we're gonna have pickup races much more often than that, if not community races.
I expect that shit. The classic charm. The charm arrows, Elven Bow, Cecil, and Zeromus. The classic strats, right? Like powerful dwarf axe action from Sid, back row Yang helping carry. Just power overwhelming Zeromus fight.
Absolutely, the most powerful gear you had. Again, well, GG's making do with what you had. Again, very nicely finished, and excited to see some more of the fun glitches and out of bounds we can catch out of this flag set.
All right. Yep. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I'll see you online.
Take care. GG's again. And we are down to the wire here. We have Zoe Vermillion fighting against Zeromus fight with Queenmus. Team's looking good. Taking a little bit of time, but everyone looks strong, hale, and hearty. We got 3 melee attackers. We got Tell in the middle. We got Fu here down at the bottom. We did have an 11th place finisher. Silverfire wrapped up with a 122.08. GG's to Silverfire.
GG's again, and Zoe does have rocks falling. Just needs to get a couple more hits going in. Gonna get that knocked out real quick. Fusoe with Cure 3 is gonna be more than enough, while these hits from Edge, and Kane, Fast and Furious. And actually, there is the full finish. Zoe Vermillion coming in 12th place, 4th in our restream at 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 42 seconds. GG to Zur, and maybe see if we can get Zur in for an interview.
Oh yeah, Zoe, very well played. This was Zoe's first time being restreamed on a free enterprise race. Just got into it pretty recently. Not shabby, coming in 12th of 20 on a very interesting flag set that, you know, there's not a ton of documentation on how to optimally play this. There are, you know, all the other modes, there are guides and VODs and, you know, experience. This is the first restreamed race with this flag, and so an excellent finish time for someone new to the game. We'll see if we can get Zoe in very soon.
Absolutely, and as you mentioned, the pickup races, I think there's been probably at least a dozen or so been going on the last couple of days since this was released. People have been doing this. There's been, even as soon as one pickup race is done, I know you guys have been doing some salty runbacks of these races immediately afterwards, going up until way late in the evening, at least in the Eastern. But just doing these races, because again, the flag sets are really fun, and watching you guys and having messed around very, very briefly myself, it does add just, again, that extra dynamic that we've been seeing across most people's screens. 4, 8, maybe even 10 bosses finished in a seed where you normally see 20, between 15 to 20 finished. You're cutting that down to like a fraction of what it is. It's more about loot and scoop than it is about going and fighting all the bosses and finding your key items now.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that it also feels remarkably fair because of how you're not the only one who can skip these fights. So, you know, admittedly, it cuts down on the routing a lot. You see fewer fights, but you get to see some real cheekiness. I'm sure within, like, you know, 4 or 5 months, we'll be like, okay, we get it. This is how you optimize. But for now, there's so much optimization going on. There's so many little, you know, cheeky bonuses to be found that it's just fun. It's a real good time. If you've not played a push B to jump flag set yet, Chad, you really owe it yourself to do so. But we were joined by Zoe Vermillion. GG, Zoe.
Thank you, and GG's to all the other runners.
So, I've been asking this to everybody, and I'm going to ask it to you as well. Where's been your favorite place to jump in this flag set? Or is one of the places you enjoy knowing that you can jump over, skip over, or just jump around in with this push B to jump flag?
There's probably two. One of them is Zot. I like the little shortcut that you can take to jump to the treasure room and then jump down and get to the next spot. And then my second favorite has to be Silk, because you can just bypass the majority of it by jumping in between those 4 chests and then popping into the hidden pathways.
Yeah, we did see you show off a couple of those. You were one of the only runners who went through Zot proper, doing the upper Zot, I believe. You did show off a fair bit more of the seed. Your team, what did you think about having that low econ team going into the Zeromus fight post D-Machine grind?
I was incredibly scared, so I knew what I was going to be going into Z with, so that's why I tried to grind out an extra D-Machine or two, and just knew that it was going to be rocky, and I had already dedicated for going with Zerg strats, so as soon as I saw that Tella on the moon, I knew that I was going to use him as my anchor. I was pretty much going to take whoever was there as my anchor.
Absolutely, and again, as an overall, knowing that the teams saw that you went into Zot, what was your thought about going in there and just being able to jump and say, hey, see you later to the first boss, and skip over some of those extra things?
Yeah, so kind of the routing that I've worked on whenever I've been playing this is to fade that Edward, which didn't pay off. One of the first things that I went to figure out as soon as the flag hit was, hey, what can I do as far as getting those characters from Zot without needing stuff?
Yeah, I was going to ask if anybody else was getting the buffering.
Yep.
You're right. Your ISP is not behaving tonight.
Do you need to just do the raid? Okay.
Oh, I think we're actually
you
back
came back.
on stream.
All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties tonight. It is a thing that happens. Twitch, of course, has a lot more people using it than usual with the social distancing and the staying at home and all these things. But I think we're back to wrap up. Dathis, sorry, you were saying?
I believe I was talking about the different locations you're talking about jumping. You said that your favorite spot was Zot's one of them, and jumping over the characters in the Tower of Zot to skip that part. What about jumping over the Dark Elf and having to skip the entirety of that music sequence?
So as soon as that's one of my favorite things, and my only regret this time was I didn't have exit. And like when I got that twin harp from Baron, I was like, am I gonna do music for the people? And I was like, I love the people, but I don't know if they love me that much because I'm so new. So no. I was going to go back to the end of the run, but then my input stopped as soon as my Z fight stopped. So I don't know what happened there.
I was kind of wondering about that because you're just kind of sitting at the at the Z fight right there. But again, well raced. It's still a very fantastic run. Any other thoughts you have about the seed, about the push B to jump flag that we have added in?
The flag itself is one of the best things that I've seen, like, come as a joke. It completely changes the meta. Even though all the logic still stays the same as if it wasn't there, it's so fun. The feed itself was basically free because we got Darkness out of music. There's the Adamant on Edward, and the free pan and Land of Southern Monsters led to the Legend Sword. So this could have been, done 45 minutes sooner. I saw that I got 11th to 12th, so I'm sure someone finished it incredibly fast. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I got to showcase maybe some more areas that didn't get shown on the restream for the jumpy shenanigans.
I just wish you'd waited about 3 more seconds to dot done so you'd have the best finish time.
Yeah, I saw that too. I didn't have the timer running.
Really done. Any other questions, Invulnerable?
No, I'm just going to say very well played. I hope we see you in a lot more community races and or tournaments going forward. Glad to have you as part of the community. And the other thing is I believe we are going to be rating PMA KFAL tonight, who is playing some casual, nothing super serious to follow our nothing super serious push B to jump flags. It's been a very fun evening. I love this flag. I'm hoping that... So it's hard to say this because it is tricky to incorporate this into something truly competitive. But like Zoe said, this mixes up the meta in a very interesting way. And I'm hoping we can do something spicy with it in the future. Dathis, I'll give you the last word.
Again, I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for the people who are working behind the scenes. Again, Skull Kitty doing fantastic work, even with any other issues that happen. She does fantastic work. Invenerable, between the races you do and the restream help that you have help out. Again, fantastic. The runners we had not only showing it off, but some part of the restream leads, Poidrak and Maggie. Again, a lot of people doing background work. They're the true heroes that you don't see. And we also have Ravelin doing great work tracking for people. But yeah, we're going to be heading you on over to PMAK real quick. Good night, everybody.